in your eyes, yeah. Oh, I think I'm home. Oh, I think I'm home.
Today on Cook's Country, Bridget shows Chris how to make the best chicken cordon bleu. Next, Aaron demonstrates how to cut a whole chicken. Then, Jack challenges Chris to a tasting of Black Forest deli ham. And finally, Julia uncovers the secrets to perfect cider braised chicken. That's all right here on Cook's Country. Cook's Country from America's Test Kitchen is brought to you by DCS by Fisher & Paykel. America's cooks rely on innovation and culinary precision. DCS by Fisher & Paykel, offering premium indoor and outdoor kitchen appliances. Chef's Catalog, offering kitchen products for home chefs and cooking enthusiasts. Online at chefscatalog.com. And by Valley Fig Growers, offering a fruitful array of California figs.
Chicken cordon bleu, which is pounded chicken cutlet breaded and filled with ham and cheese. Well, it ain't French. It's been around for a long time. Veal cordon bleu, for example, is from Switzerland. Schnitzel cordon bleu from Austria. In fact, veal used to be much less expensive than chicken, and that's what they used it for. Well, it turns out the term cordon bleu comes from the 16th century, from a group of knights, the order of knights called the Chevalier de Saint-Esprit, and part of their costume was a cordon bleu, a blue ribbon, and that eventually that got associated with really good cooks. They were cordon bleu cooks. In fact, the cordon bleu cooking school was started in Paris in 1898. Now, lucky for chicken cordon bleu, all things French came into vogue, and it all started in New York at the World's Fair of 1939. Honoré Soulet opened the Restaurant du Pavillon de France. It was a huge hit, and French restaurants started popping up in New York. Julia Child became popular. The Kennedys hired a French chef at the White House. In fact, even United Airlines in 1967, in one of their ads, advertised chicken cordon bleu prepared by our European-trained chefs. Well, the 70s were not kind to this recipe. Cornflakes on the outside, hollandaise sauce. It was a slim gourmet frozen offering. It was actually available in vending machines. It was pretty awful. So let's go into the kitchens here at Cook's Country. And Bridget's going to figure out how to take the French out of chicken cordon bleu and make it a great American midweek meal. You know, I love kitchen disasters because we can always do better, but this has got to be the world's best bad food, isn't it?
That is pretty bad.
This is like the cheese just went whoops.
Well, there was nothing to hold it in there. It's not sealed tight.
So chicken cordon bleu gone bad. And so we're going to figure out how to do it right.
That's right.
And make it foolproof.
All right, so let's start with the crumb coating, which you just saw was pretty anemic on that crumb coating. We want something more substantial and super crispy. We started off with just breadcrumbs, homemade breadcrumbs, which were pretty good, but it really didn't have enough crunch. So we started playing around with a whole bunch of different crackers out there as well. We tried saltines, Melba toast, lots of different options. What we came up with was a mix of breadcrumbs and Ritz crackers.
You're certainly putting the American back into this recipe.
Ritz crackers makes this a fancy dish. Now this is 25 Ritz crackers, and I'm just going to put this right into the food processor, along with 4 slices of hearty white bread. Just want to tear them into quarters, make them fit in there.
You're evidently not worried about what people might say about you, would you?
What's your problem with Ritz crackers, Chris?
It just seems like a convenience food from the 50s. We're trying to upgrade this dish a little bit.
Oh, really?
Seems a bit odd, but...
And how do you feel about saltines?
I love saltines.
Same thing.
Oh, same thing. Except more flavor. Okay.
These have more flavor, that's right. So I just want to pulse these two together until they form first crumbs. All right, so now I'm going to drizzle in some butter. This is 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Pulse it a couple more times just to bring everything together and coat everything with the butter. Now we're going to bake these crumbs to make them super crispy even before we use them. So just spread them out on a sheet pan here. Nice even layer. We're going to put them in a 450-degree oven and bake them until they're lightly brown. That's only going to take about 3 to 5 minutes. So I've got 4 chicken breasts here. Each of these are about 8 ounces. So now I'm going to create a little pocket, a little hot pocket.
A little pocket.
A little pocket in my chicken breast. So I want to start with the fat side, about halfway down, maybe a third of the way down. Little paring knife, just insert it in there and create a little pocket here. It's about 3 inches wide, and leaving about a quarter to a half-inch space all around the edges so that the chicken stays intact. And while I'm doing this, Chris, if you wouldn't mind checking on those breadcrumbs, it's been about 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. You want them lightly toasted, do you?
Lightly brown, please.
Okay. They're done.
All right. So I've got my 4 chicken pockets ready for the ham and cheese. Now we're using just regular deli ham here. I've got 8 slices of deli ham, and we're also using just regular deli Swiss. So what we're going to do is make little ham and cheese bundles. Are you excited?
This is home ec. This is crafting.
We're going to encase the cheese in the ham. Just put about a 1/4 cup of grated Swiss cheese right in the center there. Roll it up like a good cigar. Nice and tight.
So how are you going to get these in there?
With magic.
All right.
All right, so I've got my 2 little bundles here. Now take this chicken breast and the pocket. Now I do want to make sure that there's plenty of space for these 2 bundles to go into the chicken. So I just want to trim off a little bit of the edge of the ham and cheese. Now, let's put that first bundle right in there. And you can see how much plumper it gets as soon as that goes in there. All right, second one goes in.
This is very clever of you.
See, look at that.
Yeah.
So now we are not going to have the leaks. So I just want to press those sides together. And I'll go ahead and put it right on this plate and work on the other ham and cheese bundles.
Okay.
There we go. Just press it tight. We've got our 4 little chicken bundles.
I like this. This
Yeah.
is a great technique.
Pretty clever. So now we just want to season these with some salt and pepper. All right, so just want to cover this. We're going to let the chicken sit for 20 minutes in the refrigerator. And what's going to happen during that time is this chicken is going to kind of seal itself together and hold everything inside. This is an important step that a lot of people skip when they go to bread chicken and then cook it. You really have to let the chicken seal to itself.
Okay.
20 minutes in the fridge. All right, so I just took the chicken out of the refrigerator. It was in there for 20 minutes, and it's time to bread it. We're going to do a full bound breading, and I'll show you why that is important. But let me get my egg wash here. I've got 3 large eggs. All right, so I just want to beat this with a little bit of mustard. This is 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. So let me just whisk this together.
If you just use egg wash and the crumbs, wouldn't that coat the chicken and the crumbs go on top? What does the flour do?
The flour allows the egg wash and the crumbs to stick to the chicken. Okay. So the flour goes on.
It's glue.
That's right. It's basically the glue. All right, time to start breading. I'm going to show you the tidy way to bread.
Okay.
Just want to take the chicken breast and coat it in the flour. Then I want to pat it just to get any excess flour off of the chicken breast. All right, so I'm going to transfer this right into the egg wash, and now I'm going to pick up my tongs. Use them to coat the chicken with the egg wash, and then into the breadcrumbs. I'll just coat it, and then I really want to press those crumbs on to adhere them on there. And there we go.
You maximize the application of breadcrumb and you have
right.
clean hands.
Not a lot of goo on my hands, that's right. All right, last one, and you have to admit, they look great.
I do admit they look great, but now you're going to say something like,
You have to cook
but
them.
you can't eat them yet, right?
That's raw chicken, Chris. You
That's right.
can't eat that. That's
This
right.
is the one time you'll stop me from eating it, the only time.
All right, I'm going to put this in a 450-degree oven for 10 minutes with the sheet pan right on the bottom rack, and that's going to set the bottom. After 10 minutes, I'm going to move the sheet pan up to the middle rack and lower the oven temperature to 400 degrees. All right, so 10 minutes on the bottom and then 20 minutes at the middle rack.
Half an hour till dinner.
All right, so after raising the chicken up to the middle rack and lowering the oven temperature to 400 degrees, it's been about 20 minutes, and I think the chicken should be ready by now. It certainly looks good. And from what I can tell, there's no cheese oozing out from the chicken, so that's a good sign. Now, I want to make sure that the internal temperature of the chicken is 160 degrees. And that can be quite tricky with a stuffed chicken breast because you never know if you're getting ham, cheese, or the chicken. So what I want to do is just insert the thermometer. I want to wiggle it around. Okay, we can see that's just about perfect, 160 degrees. So we know that the chicken is done. It's going to continue to rise in internal temperature for a few minutes. So now all that I have left to do is I'm going to cover it with foil, just nice and loosely. We don't want those crumbs to get soggy. We're going to let this rest for 5 minutes before we cut in and eat it. All right, as typical, you go away and I do all the hard work.
Why I smile so much. Yes. Okay.
All right, the big reveal.
There is something there.
Ta-da!
Those look fabulous.
They do look-
And where's the pool of cheese?
No cheese, no oozing out. The chicken is intact. The breadcrumbs are still on there.
It's tidy.
It is tidy.
Okay.
For you and for me. Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna go right. Can I go right through the middle?
Sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So we can see
I mean-
what's going on in there.
Ooh,
Look
at
how
that.
juicy
Whoa.
that is. Ham and cheese all melted.
Yeah.
Oh my
I must
goodness,
say.
that's amazing.
There we go. Nice bundles. Yeah.
Thanks.
That is phenomenal.
There's that little hit of Dijon in there too.
Bridget did it once again. She took the French out of chicken and cordon bleu. We started with a breading which included Ritz crackers. I was a little dubious about that, but the real secret was to make a pocket in the chicken breast and then have ham, which is wrapped around the cheese, so it just ain't gonna get out. And we baked it, not fried it, which made it a lot easier and also healthier. Very hot oven bottom rack, then moved it up to the middle rack to finish. And there you have it, a fabulous recipe for remade chicken cordon bleu. Bleu.
Bleh.
Bleu. This is going to be the shortest. That's the winner. Well, come on. It looks good, you know?
Looks can be deceiving.
No, it's got to be that one.
Well, these are all Black Forest hams. If it's called Black Forest ham, it must come from the Black Forest region of Southwest Germany. It must be made according to very specific criteria, like prosciutto or Parma ham. In the United States, you can call anything you want Black Forest ham.
What makes us a great country.
Yes, it does make us a great country.
That's why we are what we are.
This may not be one of those examples. So let me explain to you how the traditional method of making Black Forest ham and then compare and contrast to the American method. So in Germany, they take a boneless ham. It is cured with salt and sugar, spices, usually garlic, cold smoked over fir. It takes 3 months and
Really?
to make it, and during that process, the ham loses about 25% of its initial weight. And so what's happening is, obviously, the flavors are concentrated, the texture is very meaty and denser. In the United States, in contrast, they brine the ham, usually add some artificial smoke, and then paint it with caramel color to get the dark exterior.
Great.
Great, yes.
Great.
So the domestic hams cost about $5 a pound. You get what you pay for. The German hams cost about $18 a pound. So in this taste test that you're doing here, it was a slam dunk. We really liked the one authentic German ham here. So you obviously have some opinions before you even started tasting, and I'm imagining you still have
You're
opinions.
throwing me a bone, a ham bone. So, I mean, if this isn't the winner, well,
It's not the winner.
it's got to be the winner. I like that the best. Absolutely like that the best.
Well-
This is like Oscar Mayer, and this is the good stuff. I like that much. better.
And you've completely, utterly blown this taste test.
Oh,
You've
God.
you've got every single one of them.
I love that.
All right, well, you can love this. You want to see what
Yeah.
this is?
I love that.
This is Abraham's Black Forest prosciutto ham. This is.
Oh, come on now. And
No,
this
no.
wasn't the winner?
It was actually second choice of the audience. It was pretty much. Now, when we did the panel with the large group back in America's Test Kitchen, in the plain tasting, this was the winner, but not in the chicken cordon bleu.
Well, do you see any chicken cordon bleu here? What does that mean?
Well, the audience didn't pick this as their favorite, and they just did what you did.
No, come on. It has to be.
Now, do you want to see what the audience picked as their favorite and what the Test Kitchen says is the best choice
I
for
guess
chicken
I'm going
cordon
to
bleu?
find out no matter what I want. Right.
Yeah, this would be it. The Dietz & Watson, which was our favorite domestic brand. And the one that you said was sort of okay is the absolute loser.
All right, well,
the Oscar Mayer, which we...
So what's the answer?
The answer is if you're going to be serving it with cheese and wine and bread.
If you care about how things taste, you're going to buy this.
Yes, but if you're cooking with the ham, the Dietz & Watson is going to do a better job in most cooking
Jack,
applications.
I'm going to lend you $18. So the winner, from my point of view, the winner was Abraham's Black Forest prosciutto ham. Fabulous, $18 a pound, but overall the winner was?
Dietz & Watson.
Dietz & Watson. I don't know. All right, thanks. Although it is incredibly annoying to the English, cider was actually invented by the French, and they brought it over with the Norman conquest in 1066. The term actually comes from an old French word cidre, or cidre, and that actually came from the ancient Greek, which meant alcoholic drink. So this wasn't cider as we know it today, like something kids would drink. This was an alcoholic drink. So now we have cider and chicken. We have the concept of braising, put them all together and come up with a great midweek supper.
That's it. So what we have here is 3 pounds of bone-in chicken. Now you can't substitute boneless chicken in this dish, it just won't work. But you can use any kind of bone-in chicken you like. You can use all breast or drumsticks or thighs or even a mixed bag like we have here. The only thing to note is that if you're using breasts, you really want to cut them in half first. That way they'll cook more evenly. So just right in half. And if you want to cheat it a little towards the thick side, that's perfect. There we go. Now we're going to really brown the chicken, and the key to browning chicken and getting it good and crisp and rendered is to make sure it's really dry. All right, that looks good and dry. And of course, season with salt and pepper. I made a little bowl of a salt pepper mix that I can just keep on diving into with my dirty fingers, and then I'll just pitch whatever's left. Make sure you get both sides. All right, now I'm going to go wash my hands before we start cooking. All right, so we're ready to get cooking. And now what I have over here is a 12-inch skillet with 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil in it. You really shouldn't use a smaller skillet because things will be too crowded and there won't be enough room. And if you use a bigger skillet, there'll be too much evaporation and you won't have enough sauce left over. So now we're gonna add the chicken skin side down. We really want to brown and render that chicken skin, and that actually can take a little bit of time. It can take about 10 minutes, we found, of good browning to get the fat out of the skin and get it nice and crisp. So we're going to brown it on the skin side for about 10 minutes, and then we'll flip the pieces over and brown for another 5. So it's about 15 minutes total. Isn't that gorgeous? Look how perfectly browned and really rendered the skin is, and that skin will be nice and crisp. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that skin stays crisp until we eat it.
Now, the problem is you go do this and then you go braise it, and the skin gets soggy, so
That's
you're like,
right.
why did I brown in the first place?
That's right. Yeah, we have a trick so that the skin will remain good and crisp. All right, now depending on how much fat you have left in the pan, you want about a tablespoon to continue to saute the other ingredients. So if you have a lot, just pour a little of that hot fat out. And now we're gonna saute 1 onion in that rendered chicken fat. So we're gonna saute these onions for about 5 minutes till they get softened. And I'm gonna be mindful to scrape up any browned bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pan, any of that fond, just to make sure it doesn't burn.
Now, here at Cook's Country, we actually prefer to buy a whole chicken and break it down into parts. So Aaron's going to show you exactly how to do it and do it in about 2 minutes.
Today I'm going to show you how to break down whole chicken. The first step is to remove both legs by cutting through the skin to expose the inside of the thigh. And with the tip of your knife, you want to cut down, pop the joint, and put your knife right through that joint to separate it from the chicken. I'm going to do the second one. Again, just cutting through that skin, hugging the backbone. I'm going to pop the joint and cut right through that. Okay, so the next step is we're going to separate the thigh and the drumstick. So there's a natural seam that goes in between them. It's lined with fat. You want to just follow that line and cut right through. So now you have 2 pieces, your thigh and your drumstick. And I'm going to repeat that. Again, looking for that white strip. And there you go. The next step is we're going to remove both wings. So you want to flip the chicken over, wings facing you, and using your knife, just cut to expose the joint, and you want to just cut right through that, and that pops right off. I'm going to repeat it. Again, now you can see that joint, and you want to just cut right through, being sure not to cut into the breast. Now we're going to remove the backbone. Instead of using a chef knife, we use a pair of kitchen shears. So I'm going to just cut right up the backbone on both sides of the backbone. So now this backbone you can either discard, or I like to hold on to it to make stock with. Also with the kitchen shears, you can trim off the rib cage. So if you follow this white line of fat, you want to just kind of cut right up towards that wing joint that we just discarded. There we go. Okay, so now we are going to split the breast in half. I'm going to flip it over skin side down, and this is a keel bone. I'm just going to take my knife, the heel of my knife, and I'm just going to put it right here and just give it a quick tap, and that pops it open. And now I'm going to cut all the way through. And so there you have it. We have 2 breasts, 2 wings, 2 drumsticks, and 2 thighs. That's how you break down a chicken.
All right, so these onions, you can see they're nicely browned and softened. We're ready to continue adding some aromatics. And this is 2 teaspoons of minced fresh thyme, 2 cloves of minced garlic, and 2 teaspoons of flour. Now the flour will act like a bit of a thickener for the sauce so that it has a little bit of body. We're going to stir these in, and you only need to cook those ingredients for about 30 seconds to a minute until you really smell their fragrance. You can start smelling that garlic and
This
that
is
thyme.
your basic saute a piece of meat or poultry, take it out of the pan, build the sauce.
That's right. We're going to add the apple ingredients, and this is 1 cup of apple cider. And to really boost its flavor, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of apple brandy. Now, of course, we tried lots of ways to really infuse the apple cider with some good apple flavor. And some things we tried included applesauce. And, yeah, but that really made the sauce pretty grainy. It wasn't very smooth. We also tried apple butter, but that has a really strong flavor. It much overpowered the chicken. We tried apple juice and apple jelly, but they're really just sweet. They don't have a lot of apple flavor. We also tried a hard apple cider.
But you couldn't find it because I drank it all.
That's right. Yeah, that was much too potent and strong and really had a dulling effect on the sauce. It wasn't fresh. Okay. But that apple brandy really was quite great. All right, so now we're going to add, of course, 1 whole apple cut up. And we tried different kinds of apples. We found Granny Smith was a little too bitter. Macintosh really disintegrated into almost an applesauce. But that Jonna Gold, Cortland, or Golden Delicious worked really well. And now we're going to nestle the chicken back into the sauce, but we're going to nestle it skin side up. And you'll notice that the level of the sauce is really just halfway up the chicken, so that it's really braising the chicken from the underside so that it's nice and moist, but that crisp skin is really above the level of the moisture, so it's going to stay nice and crisp. So this is like a half braised, half roast.
That looks really, really good.
Yeah.
And quick.
So now we're going to run this into a hot oven, a 450-degree oven, and it's only going to take 10 minutes to cook that chicken through. So it's been about 10 minutes that the chicken has been in the oven. Oh, doesn't that smell good?
It looks great, smells great.
So this chicken temped out just right.
This has to be one of our all-time favorite Cook's Country recipes because it takes about 20 minutes from start to finish. Has a great sauce, and you can also get great skin at the same time.
That's right. A little salt, a little pepper. And again, I'm going to finish it with just a little bit of vinegar. This teaspoon of cider vinegar and just a hint of tartness. And I'm going to punch out that brandy just a little bit with an extra tablespoon.
What was that look? I'll punch up the brandy a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Like John Wayne.
Just give it a little
Pilgrim.
kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that looks good. Now, I might just spoon a little of this around the chicken, and I'll put the rest on our plates. What kind of piece would you like?
I would like one of each, please.
All right.
They're small.
I'll give you a breast and a thigh.
And some apple.
Yeah. The apples are so nice. They have just a little bit of texture left. They're not mush, but they're softened. That looks good. Well,
Skin's great. Sauce looks great. Smells great. It's fresh. It's quick.
the meat is so moist because it braised from the underside.
That is phenomenally good. Not only did Julia teach us how to make cider braised chicken, but this is a generic technique for chicken, which means saute skin side down, take it out of the pan, build a very quick sauce, put the chicken back and flip, so skin side up, into a hot oven to finish. You can do this with hundreds of recipes, just varying the sauce. It works great. So the secret to this particular recipe was, of course, that method, but we used apple cider. We also used apple brandy for flavor, and some apples, some fresh herbs, and onion. A fabulous recipe. You can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season at Cook's Country TV, along with our testings, tastings, and you can watch selected episodes of our TV show. But meanwhile, you can watch, I'm gonna eat.
All of today's recipes are just a click away. Visit our website anytime for free access to this season's recipes, taste tests, and equipment ratings, or to watch our current season episodes. Log on to cookscountrytv.com.
Best Country Recipes. Cook's Country TV's home recipe companion includes every recipe, taste test, and equipment rating from this season's shows. With the recipe companion, you will also receive this 2-DVD set featuring all 13 episodes from this season. The cost for Best Country Recipes and the 2-DVD set is $19.95. To order, call 1-800-888-3384 or order online at cookscountrytv.com. Cook's Country from America's Test Kitchen is brought to you by DCS by Fisher & Paykel, America's cooks rely on innovation and culinary precision. CCS by Fisher & Paykel, offering premium indoor and outdoor kitchen appliances. Chef's Catalog, offering kitchen products for home chefs and cooking enthusiasts. Online at chefscatalog.com. And by Valley Fig Growers, offering a fruitful array of California figs.